I know that you were the first, one of the first ones at Clive's party to speak about Whitney's passing the other day.
Yes.
And that was, did you know her well?
Yes, I did. I actually, when I was growing up in the music industry before I had success, I somehow got on her wedding invitation.
Why does Diddy's name keep coming up in theories surrounding high-profile celebrity deaths and bizarre Hollywood behavior? Now people are saying that if you look closely at how he spoke about Whitney Houston, it seems like he knew something about what really happened to her. Allegedly, all of these connections trace back to one person, and I'm sure you can already guess who.
Diddy and Davis, have they ever had anything past business? Because to me, they seem to mirror each other behavior-wise. Like to me, they both got like that dark energy around them. I almost wonder, like, well, damn, you know, did they ever have anything? Well, I just wondered that, man, because they're very.
And it's Grammy time, and her and had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobby Christina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
Here's the thing. Whitney Houston died on the eve of Clive Davis's legendary pre-Grammy party, a party that disturbingly went on downstairs while her lifeless body lay upstairs in a bathtub. Ask yourself, why would Clive keep the party going, fully aware that Whitney Houston had just died in his hotel suite? Why did the very man who discovered her seem so unfazed? Now, let's bring Diddy into this. Could it be that he knows things the public doesn't? Or worse, could he be involved in networks that operate far beyond what we see? Some believe there's a long-standing, underground system in the entertainment industry, one that protects certain people while silencing others. If that's true, then what role does Diddy really play? Here's where it gets even more chilling. Bobby Brown has publicly said he suspects foul play in Whitney's death, and in their daughter Bobby Christina's death too. He's repeatedly pointed to Nick Gordon, Chrissy's ex, as being potentially responsible for both. And if that's the case, then the truth might be darker than anyone wants to admit.
The world to know that Bobby Christina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobby Christina.
What killed Bobby Christina?
Bobby Christina was starved.
You approached that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
Walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all.
But if word on the street is anything to go by, Bobby Brown believes this whole situation goes much deeper than just Nick Gordon. And with Whitney Houston's name being mentioned during Diddy's ongoing legal battles, it's clear Bobby may have a lot more to say. Y'all, it's getting wild, and we need to talk about it. Let's start with this. Whitney's name did come up during Diddy's trial. His former assistant, Capricorn Clark, mentioned both Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey while testifying. According to Capricorn, she thought Cassie was talented, but not on the level of a true vocal powerhouse. When Diddy's lawyer asked her, "Why do you say Cassie had talent as opposed to being very talented?" Capricorn responded, talent to me is Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. Very talented is that level of performer-entertainer. Cassie was more of a studio artist, more comfortable in the vocal booth, where things could be engineered and equalized properly, not really a live performer. But Whitney's name didn't come up just once. During the trial, Diddy's lawyer asked Cassie if she remembered the night Diddy allegedly overdosed on opioids in February 2012, the very same weekend Whitney Houston died. Cassie responded, "I believe so. That evening we had a freak-off. We went to a club in San Bernardino, and then he had a party at the Playboy Mansion. I went home. From what he told me, he took a really strong opioid that night. We didn't know what was happening, so we took him to the hospital." Now, it's unclear why Whitney's name came up in that context, but people are saying it's not a coincidence. In fact, regardless of how her name was mentioned, folks have been digging deeper into any possible connection Diddy may have had to her tragic death. And apparently, allegedly, there might be something there. Let's rewind. Whitney was found unresponsive and submerged in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Official reports stated her cause of death was accidental drowning. Toxicology found a small amount of cocaine in her system, along with traces of marijuana, Xanax, and other substances. Authorities speculated that a heart attack, possibly brought on by artery blockage, may have caused her to lose consciousness and drown. But here's the thing, the coroner did not find clear evidence of a cardiac episode. The heart disease they mentioned? It was described as mild, similar to what many longtime smokers might have. There wasn't enough arterial blockage to explain a sudden collapse. In fact, there wasn't even enough water in her lungs to confirm that she drowned at all. So she didn't pass out in the tub and drown. How did she end up submerged in scalding hot water, unable to get out? Many believe the official story doesn't add up. There's a growing theory that Whitney's death wasn't just an accident, it was orchestrated. But who would do that? And why Kat brings us back to Diddy. Some people are asking, was he just an observer in all this? Or does he know far more than he lets on? And if there really is a powerful underground system in the entertainment industry, one that protects certain people and silences others, then what role does Diddy play in it? Here's something else to consider. Despite the public tributes Diddy has given to Whitney since her passing, there are whispers in the industry that the two never had any real relationship. Not professionally, not personally, not even casually. In fact, some insiders claim Whitney didn't trust Diddy and was wary of his influence in the music scene. She was reportedly known to avoid what she called Hollywood games, and Diddy? He was viewed as one of the key players in that exact machine she tried to distance herself from. Yet after her death, Diddy appeared on shows like Ellen, speaking fondly of Whitney, sharing stories and honoring her legacy as if they were close. But was it genuine sentiment or strategic optics? That's the question people are asking now, because as more details surface in Diddy's legal battles, and as names like Whitney Houston's continue to come up, it's becoming harder for the public to ignore the possibility that there's more going on behind the scenes than any of us were ever meant to see.
I think you were the first, one of the first ones at the party to speak about Whitney's passing the other day.
Yes.
And that was, did you know her well?
Yes, I did. I actually, when I was growing up in the music industry before I had success, I somehow got on her wedding invitation. So I was at her wedding, but I didn't really know her, but it was like the hottest thing in town for the music industry, but I didn't crash the party somehow. You know, I was a hustler. I got my name on there, me plus one. I went there and I was just like, oh my God, I'm at Whitney Houston's wedding. You know, I was a big Bobby Brown fan. And then throughout the years, I got to meet her, and she was so full of life, so full of just joy, and she always made you feel like she noticed you and recognized you and spoke to you, and she'll definitely truly be missed.
Was Diddy trying to align himself with Whitney Houston posthumously for image reasons? That's the question a lot of people are asking. Why would someone Whitney reportedly didn't trust be so quick to claim a kind of public kinship with her once she was no longer here to speak for herself? Allegedly, the connection between Diddy and Whitney traces back to the man many refer to as Diddy's master, Clive Davis. A man with unimaginable influence in the music industry, Clive is known for building stars and, allegedly, discarding them when they no longer serve the system. So, could Whitney have become a liability? Was she threatening to reveal something? And did Clive, with the help of his powerful allies, including Diddy, make a decision that fateful night? To some people, that's not a far-fetched theory, especially considering the long-rumored nature of Diddy and Clive's relationship. There have been long-standing allegations about Clive Davis and how he treated some of the male artists he mentored. And when it comes to Diddy and Clive, rumors of an intimate or transactional relationship have floated around for years. Now, Clive Davis is openly bisexual. In his memoir, The Soundtrack of My Life, he shared that he been in 2 long-term monogamous relationships with men, spanning over 20 years. He also said his first intimate encounter with a man happened back in the studio 54 days of the late 70s, and he wrote that chapter himself. As for how Clive and Diddy first met, in an episode of Rock and Roll High School with Pete Ganbarg, Clive shared the story. When they were introduced, Diddy, who was only 23 at the time, told Clive that hip-hop needed to be part of the mainstream top 40. According to Clive, he didn't fully understand what Diddy meant at first, but he was open to it. He said, Puffy was 23 years old, and I knew the artists I had, Aretha, Dionne, Whitney. But sensing the hip-hop revolution, both La Reed and I agreed we needed someone really attuned to the street. Diddy played Craig Mack's Flavor in Your Ear and several notorious big cuts, and that convinced Clive. Okay, you proved your point, he said. That's when Clive brought Diddy into the fold, introducing him to Arista's weekly singles meetings and key execs, essentially helping him break into the industry. But according to what's been making the rounds online, that introduction came at a very heavy price. Allegedly, Clive gave Diddy the startup funds for Bad Boy Entertainment and continued backing him financially for years. The speculation that the price Diddy had to pay for that support was hooking up with Clive. And worse, there's a theory that Diddy's real price wasn't just personal, it was professional. Some believe Diddy's long-term role was to handle Clive's dirty work. That behind the scenes, he acted as an enforcer, cleaning up messes, silencing threats, and protecting the system from anyone who posed a risk. If that's true, then what happened to Whitney could have been part of that. A lot of people believed she was no longer useful to the machine. Maybe she was planning to go public with the truth about something. And maybe, just maybe, Diddy was involved in making sure she never got the chance. Now let's talk about Bobby Brown, because he's been dropping hints for years. Through interviews, in his memoirs, and during his emotional breakdowns, he's been trying to tell us something without saying it directly. He's long suggested that Whitney's death wasn't an accident. He's even said he believes Nick Gordon may have been involved, not just in Bobby Christina's death, but Whitney's too. A lot of people wrote Bobby off as paranoid or crazy. But what if he's been right all along? Child, I'm still trying to process all these allegations, but it's getting harder to ignore the patterns. Do you see the connections between Diddy, Clive Davis, and Whitney? Was Bobby Brown onto something this whole time? Because honestly, I can't wait to hear what y'all think. Sound off in the comments below. Let's talk about it.